Hello everyone, welcome to the fifth unit of our general entomology course, which is about insect ecology. This introductory video provides an overview of the unit and outlines the main themes we will explore in this unit. It offers a foundation for understanding the ecological roles of insects and their interactions with ecosystems. In this unit, we will explore how insects interact with their environment, how their populations change over time, and how they maintain ecological balance in nature. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define insect ecology, explain the scope and importance of insect ecology across multiple levels of biological organization, identify and describe the critical ecological roles and ecosystem services provided by insects, differentiate between the key abiotic and biotic factors that influence insect survival, distribution, and behavior, explain the fundamental principles of insect population dynamics and host plant interactions, and finally apply basic ecological principles such as energy flow, niche theory, and succession to insect communities and ecosystems. So insect ecology explores how insects interact with living organisms such as plants and animals, including human beings, as well as with non-living environmental factors such as sunlight, temperature, and moisture. So you may ask why we study insect ecology. Have you ever wondered about insects? Why insects are everywhere, in forests, farms, rivers, and even our backyards? Well, insects are not just tiny creatures buzzing around us. They are the most diverse and abundant animals on Earth, making up over half of all known living species. They are very much important in our ecosystem. They pollinate crops, ensuring we have fruits, vegetables, and seeds. They also recycle nutrients by breaking down dead plants and animals, keeping our soil fertile and healthy. As both prey and predators, insects help maintain the balance of ecosystems, supporting countless other forms of life. Therefore, studying insect ecology helps us understand biodiversity, ecosystem stability, and support sustainable natural resource management. Insect ecology operates at four main levels. At an individual level, we study how does a single insect adapt to its environment. At the population level, we study how the number of insects change over time, why some species multiply rapidly while others decline. At the community level, we explore how different species interact, competing, cooperating, or even depending on each other for survival. At the ecosystem level, we see how insects fit into the bigger ecological picture, recycling nutrients, pollinating plants, and keeping the balance of nature. Insects are true ecosystem engineers. Therefore, they are very much important, or they have a very important role in our ecosystem. So in this unit, we are going to see the ecological roles of insects. They recycle nutrients, pollinate plants, regulate pest populations, and even shape soil structure. For example, termites and dung beetles recycle organic matter. Bees and butterflies play a vital role in pollinating crops and a wide variety of flowering plants. Ladybird beetles help control pest populations naturally, acting as a biocontrol agent. There are different factors that influence insects population. There are two important factors that we are going to see in our course: abiotic factors and biotic factors. Several non-living factors strongly influence insect survival and behavior. For example, temperature affects insect growth and activity, with most thriving between 20 degrees centigrade and 35 degrees centigrade. Moisture maintains water balance and supports reproduction. Light regulates daily rhythms, migration, and mating. Air and water current influence dispersal and survival, especially in flying and aquatic insects. Therefore, abiotic factors or the physical environment have an important role influencing insects population. Similarly, biotic factors play a significant role in influencing, again, insects population. Living factors in our ecosystem influence how insects survive, interact, and thrive. Living factors include intraspecific and interspecific interactions. Intraspecific interactions are interactions within a species for competition, social behavior, or parental care, for example. Interspecific interactions are interactions that exist between species, like predation, parasitism, competition, and mutualism. The other important topic that we are going to deal in our course is population dynamics and host-plant interactions. Population dynamics explores the factors that cause insect populations to increase or decrease over time. Growth depends on birth, death, migration, and environmental limits. There are two important population growth models. The first one is exponential growth, which is based on ideal conditions, so that rapid increase in populations is what we are expecting in this growth model. The second growth model is logistic growth model. This is based on realistic, which is limited by carrying capacity, so that growth slows as resources deplete. Under ideal conditions, populations grow exponentially, whereas in reality, they level off at the carrying capacity of the environment. The other important area where we deal in depth is about host-plant interactions. Insects and plants have a long dynamic relationship. Herbivores depend on plants for food, while plants evolve defenses against them. Herbivorous insects form special feeding guilds: leaf eaters, sapsuckers, and wood borers. Plants in turn have evolved defense strategies against these herbivorous insects. For example, there is antizoonosis, which is about deterring feeding of insects; antibiosis, reducing insect survival; and tolerance, recovering after insects damage. The most important area that we are going to deal in depth is also community ecology and niche concepts. Community ecology examines species coexistence and interactions, shaping biodiversity and ecosystem function. An important areas where we are going to cover are, for example, for the following in this topic: a keystone species, which is an important organisms, for example, insects, that has a disproportionately large effect on its ecosystem relative to its abundance. Some insects, for example, like butterflies and termites, are keystone species. Their loss would destabilize entire ecosystem. Species richness is a total number of species in one particular environment. Species evenness is a balance among species, whereas species abundance identifies dominant species and guilds in an ecosystem. The other important aspect, again, when we are going to deal is about insect adaptations for survival. There are several adaptations that insects exhibit. It can be structural, it can be physiological, or behavioral adaptations. In structural adaptations, for example, on land, insects protect their bodies with a waxy cuticle, a waterproof outer layer that prevents water loss. In aquatic environment, insects breathe using gills or siphons that reach the water surface. Insects have internal physiological adaptations that help them survive extreme conditions. In harsh seasons, for example, many insects enter into diapause, pausing growth and activity. Some insects living in cold regions survive low temperatures by producing antifreeze compounds that prevents their body fluid from freezing, or avoid freezing, or tolerate freezing, or others even enter into supercool to withstand extreme cold conditions. Insects also exhibit behavioral adaptations. Some insects use camouflage, blending with leaves, bark, or soil to hide themselves from predators or prey. Some insects use mimicry, imitating dangerous species to scare off predators. Some insects use bright warning colors to signal danger and deter predators. You may ask why we study insect ecology. Does it have any practical applications? Yes. Understanding insect ecology has significant real-world applications. For example, in agriculture, it enhances pollination and natural pest control. In forestry, it supports decomposition and soil nutrient recycling. In public health, it informs management of disease-carrying insects, such as different types of vectors. in forensics, assists in estimating post-mortem intervals during criminal investigations. In conclusion, insects are the foundation of ecological stability. They pollinate, decompose, regulate populations, and keep ecosystems balanced. By understanding their ecology, we can better manage our environment, protect biodiversity, and ensure sustainable future for all living things. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to guiding you through this engaging topic as we explore more together on our LMS. Thank you.